Hey guys, welcome back to the next part of our series. Today we're going to continue with the armor details. We're at the final parts of this chapter. Hopefully you guys have learned a lot about hard surface sculpting here. So today what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be using insert multi-mesh to insert more stuff. So I am going to append, and we're going to append a sphere. Remember, this is going to be like a placeholder. And we need the sphere so that we can inject things into the object. And it already knows, or it will know, where to place them. So if I go BI, you're going to find, again, this like IMM guns, IMM machine parts. And there's, again, a lot of things. I really like this one, this industrial parts, because you have like bolts and stuff. And I think we can use some of this like bolt heads on a couple of places for our characters. So it's just a matter of deciding where you want and literally dragging and dropping them so that they look cool. Now, just be mindful, sometimes they float a little bit more than you might want. We can change that later on. But I'm actually gonna, let's go back. Like, I think having like a couple of big ones here on the horn might be a good idea. Let's turn on symmetry, of course, so we get them on both sides. So let's do that. And then let's do like here. And then like here, there we go. So now it looks like the horn is actually supporting all of those things. And then, I don't know, for instance, like this guy's over here. Maybe like add a couple of bolts so that it knows, or it looks like they're like holding them. Same thing like here. On this guy's, I kind of want to add like 2 small bolts. And this is something that I like to call complexity out of simplicity. Sometimes you are going to have, what the hell is going on here? That's weird. See that? Like the mirror is working there, but it's not working there. It seems like this guy is like off center. If that ever happens to you guys, I mean, you can try and find like the center again, but it's gonna be a little bit tricky. Here, since we're in Dynamesh, I strongly recommend you do the mirror and weld, and that's gonna be it's gonna fix it. So yeah, as you can see, that was a little bit of center. So yeah, as I was mentioning, you will be able to add a lot of really cool like details like this ones without that much of a problem. Like a lot of people think that you need to do every single thing, and no, there's so much kit bashing and stuff in traditional like modeling. Now, the only thing that I don't like about kit bashing, which is what we're doing right now, is that there are some pieces like this piston right there that it might look cool at first, but if you're not like actually using, let's go back to the sphere. Like if you're not dividing this guy, it's very, very low poly, right? Like you can see how low poly this thing looks. And I mean, it's not going to be the end of the day. Just be mindful of which models you use. Let's take a look at like the machine parts and see if we can find something that's interesting and cool. So yeah, like this little like rubber ports. And we can add like a couple there. And maybe like a couple more over here. Again, just to add interest. Remember what we talked about before? We need to have a little bit of what's the word? Of rest areas, right? So you don't want to like overdo it. You don't want to have like a lot of these things pretty much like all over the place, because it might be a little bit too much. But yeah, you can use as many of these guys as you want. Let's grab like this coupler right here. And for instance, we can make this work kind of like what's the word? Like the things that hinge, like a hinge. There we go. So it's gonna be like a hinge over there. And let's add like another one over here. Something that I forgot to mention, or not forgot, but we haven't really talked about it. Everything that I'm showing you here in the ZBrush course is how to utilize these tools and create stuff. But there's so much more things that you can learn out there about design specifically. So if you take a look at the best sci-fi shows in history, if you take a look at what other people have done throughout history, again, with like Star Wars, Star Trek, like any sci-fi show that you can think of, you're going to find that there's a lot of like, I call them graphic ideas, right? That people are experimenting with and creating. And there's also this thing where sometimes there will be a couple of how do you call it? Oh, that's a little bit too much. I divided it way too much. 48 million. That's crazy. There we go. So once something hits, like whenever you see something that's really cool and people like it, you're gonna see things being repeated quite a bit. So when Halo first came out, a lot of the sci-fi was influenced by that kind of like aesthetic, and then we started getting like other sorts of aesthetics, and things changed. So also be mindful about that, because there will be things that will inspire you and change the way you do things. Now here I'm gonna go into my Damien standard. And, or actually, no, let's go into the chisel brush. You remember, guys, we talked about the chisel brush before. So we're going to use the chisel brush. And I'm just going to add like a couple of chisel lines here. Like some accelerated lines to really push in the silhouette, like on this guy's right here. Something like this. So that when we see it from the front, we see that nice little line. So as you can see, things are getting a lot more like busier, and we're getting more and more like interesting stuff, interesting patterns, which are really, really cool. I'm gonna decrease the intensity a little bit. I think it's a little bit too much. There we go. And then let's go down. Perfect. So again, just small lines here and there that are gonna really, really push the surface. And at any point, we're not gonna do it on this particular one because we've done like damage stuff all throughout the course. But at any point, you are welcome to add damage, like trim dynamic slashes, scratches, rust, like anything that you can imagine. You can of course add to this whole thing right here. So yeah, I mean, this is looking good. And again, you can go as crazy or as simple as you want. Like I've seen some really basic, well, not basic, really simple, minimalistic, like sci-fi designs, and there are other people that do like super intricate designs with their stuff. Like if you think about like Mega Man, right? Like Mega Man has a really simple design, and Capcom really never like went like super like extreme with him. But then you take a look at something like Master Chief, like we were talking about, or Warframe, where they do this super intense and cool looking armors, and you're gonna be spending a lot more time on those. So be mindful about that as well. Whenever you're working on a project, the more time you invest on that project, well, the better the quality is gonna be. So it's not the same to spend as we've been doing with this helmet, a little bit over an hour, than to go in and spend like a whole week like developing this concept, right? So the more time, the more quality, the more reference, the more art direction you have, the better the result is going to be. The important thing is for you to know all of these tools that we've been exploring so far. So I'm gonna stop this one right here, guys. This like detail, I don't think I want to go like any crazier, but I do want to talk about live booleans because you guys are gonna love that thing. So hang on tight, and I'll see you back in just 1 second.